Hey, welcome back to our channel. I'm Louise and I'm alone again because, as you guys may know, I've been in France for my holidays. It's actually my last day today. Tomorrow I'm gonna take the train to go to the airport and come back to Japan. But as my last video here, I thought I would do a little reverse culture shock like some of our mates already did in the channel, because I have so much to say. And I'm actually gonna do that in the order in which I realized those things during my trip in France. I was there for 1 month, so there's a lot of time to realize all of those. So first, there's a lot of ones that I was kind of expecting, but this one, I was totally not prepared. It's kind of stupid, but it's the size of towels. Of body towels, hair towels, face towels. It's huge. And when I first came to Japan, I noticed that it was smaller, but then I found some bigger one and I thought it was similar. But then I went to my uncle's place in Paris when I first came back from Japan, and the towels there, they're so big. So I was so surprised. I was like, was it always like this? Like, is it only him? But then when I went back to my dad's house where I am now, my towel was the same. So I was like, oh my god, like I forgot how big and heavy those towels are. So actually I don't like it anymore, because I think like a lighter towel is a bit easier to keep on your body, you know, and also in your hair. Like, it tug on my hair so much because there's so much weight. But yeah, like that was the surprise reverse I mean, that's what a reverse culture shock is, right? But anyway, I wasn't expecting this one, so you know, I don't know if the hotels towel are that big, but you know, be prepared if you come to France. Second one, staying kind of in the bathroom area, the toilet. Oh my god, I knew this one. Like, I was expecting it, but it was still a shock. It was still worse than I thought. And what I mean by that is, in Japan, toilets in restaurants, toilets at home, toilets outside, like public toilets, all of them are clean. And I wouldn't say like all of them are super clean, because of course, you know, depending on the area, but most of them are clean. And there's always like a seat. Most of them are even warm, and you always have a little button to like cancel the noise, or like to have washlets or everything. And I got used to those for 4 years, and then you come back to France and nothing. It was worse than I thought, because like actually most of the public toilets don't even have like the seat part, you know, like the one you can put up, like they don't have this. It's like a very thin border, and it's so uncomfortable. And yeah, I was so shocked because I forgot about that. Like, I was like, what's going on? Like, there's some pieces missing on this toilet. But yeah, that's the reality of public toilet in France. And also, like, on my way to see one of my friends, I had like a stop in Paris, and the public toilet in this bus stop was horrible. Like, oh my god, it's so dirty, guys. Like, as I always say, when you go to France, try to avoid like the public toilets. They're not great, you know, you can use them, but I miss Japanese toilets so much. I'm very excited to have the luxury of Japanese toilets again. But of course, at home we have pretty normal toilets, except we don't have washlets, and that's the difference, right? It's not like a system like this, like warming up the seat or anything. It's just pretty simple toilet with just like the flush button and whatever. But at least those are clean usually, you know, at home or in restaurants. So yeah, nothing much to complain there. Third one, going away from the bathroom but still staying inside as expected. Can you guess? It's shoes inside. Can you see? Yeah, in France, as in a lot of other countries except Japan, we wear shoes inside the house. I was pretty used to it because, you know, all of my life I was doing it. But in Japan, of course, I always take off my shoes when I get home. So it felt very weird at first, like to keep my shoes on. And to be fair, some families in France actually like forbid the shoes inside the house too. So it really depends on your family, but most members of my family, I mean uncles and my dad and everyone, keep their shoes inside. You know, when it's like hardwood floor, I feel it's okay, but like carpets and like rugs, I feel so wrong stepping on them with my shoes that were inside. Usually I take them out and I just stay in socks inside, but I still like go upstairs to my room with shoes, which is very wrong, but you know, that's how it is, that's the culture, and if everyone does it, it's fine. Like actually, like it doesn't feel right to walk around without shoes when everyone else is doing it. So yeah, that's one of the points, but as I said, it really depends on family. And same, like everything I'm saying, like maybe except the toilet stuff, everything I'm saying is mostly based on my experience, and so heavily influenced by my family or like my friends, because that's the circle I'm in. So of course some French people might have very different experiences than mine, so please keep that in mind. You know, it's not a general truth basically, so yeah, be careful. Fourth is, yeah, that's very fitting, but the fourth one is actually how to count with your fingers, because I didn't notice this until super recently, because I was spending a lot of time with my brother and we were talking about something, and suddenly I was like, yeah, 1, 2, 3, and he was like, why do you count like this? And I was like, what do you mean? Like, I'm just counting on my fingers. But I was like, why do you fold your fingers instead of raising them? I was like, oh my god, I was influenced. Like, I totally forgot that's not how we do it in France. Like in France, most people would say 1, 2, 3, maybe 4. It depends on people, but 4, 5. But maybe it's same. It's like depending on people. But in Japan, most people I've seen do like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I do that now. I didn't even know. I didn't even try to change it, but by imitation. I think you guys, the members of Lenko, is because of you guys. I changed the way I count, and now this is way more natural for me. So yeah, that was a fun one. I don't know if it's a real shock, but at least my brother was surprised about it. So I thought I would just put it in there because it was kind of funny. So. Then I have a kind of larger topic, I would say. I don't know. Anyway, it's more like the difference in conversation styles in France compared to Japan. From my experience, I think in Japan, a lot of people will listen to what you say and, you know, nod or like say, like, you know, show that they're listening. And when it's their turn, when it feels like it's their turn, they then start to speak. And it's a very respectful way to converse. Like, you know, you very rarely like just talk over somebody or something like that. Like sometimes I even find it hard to find the right time to speak because like I don't want to be impolite, but I also have my French blood in me, you know. And when I came back to France, that's one of the things I noticed, because people talking, like I was like, are they even listening to each other? For example, my dad and my uncle, when they talk, they both talk, but like at the same time, you know. And like different topics sometimes. So I thought it was very funny, and I was like, what is even going on? And then I'm just listening, like looking at them, trying to look like I'm listening, because I'm used to like being that, like that, you know, in Japan. And I was not used to just stepping over like people, not stepping. Talking over people anymore, which I mean, I know I still do it. It's kind of in my personality, I'm sorry. But not as much as before. And so I realized like I kind of struggle to find my timing to talk. And I also like stop talking as soon as someone like talk over me, which most French people don't do. We just keep talking. We fight for our time to speak, you know? So yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting, because that's something I didn't see in Japan. Because I think Japan has a culture like centered around like respect and also listening to each other, like understanding someone else's feeling. Whereas in France, we're a bit more individualistic and we want people to listen to us. And also, a lot of people love debating. It's not fighting, not to be confused, but in a lot of family meal, you will have people like arguing very strongly. It's not a fight, it's just kind of a game for them, even though it looks very serious. Like if you talk about politics or all of those like topics, a lot of people will say their opinion very strongly and you feel like they're not even listening to each other. That's normal. It's just, you know, it's a game, it's debating, and a lot of French people love to do that, and it's a way to confront your opinions. And then, you know, after the conversation is done and they vote, they actually reflect about what the other said, and I think that's how you can form new opinions in France. Whereas I feel like in Japan, we consider a lot more before stating our own opinions. I've only been in Japan for 4 years, but that's how I just see it around me. So yeah, that was one big difference. And kind of on the same topic, I think, is like conversation style, like relationships, you know. Like I actually, when I was in Paris, I was eating at a restaurant with my uncle and my dad. And then there was a couple next to us. And I was kind of surprised how the girl was behaving. Not in a bad way, not especially in a good way, just like surprised, because of course there's a lot of different type of people in Japan too. Like, don't take me wrong, I know it's not everyone, but I've seen a lot of girls in Japan, if they're on a date, it's a lot about like laughing at the joke of the person and like trying to look cute and nice. And also because in Japanese culture, you know, we try to be very careful about other people feeling. I feel like they're more reserved, like listening, and even when they talk, it's like kind of in a cuter way than I saw at that time. So in France, like when I listened to her, like she was totally like casual and like putting her feet on the chair and they were kind of like debating, same as I was saying before. So like stating very strong opinion, and she was like, you know, talking over him a lot. And I wouldn't say it's a good thing, it's just a difference in personality. And of course, I don't know if it's their first date, I don't know if they've been married for 3 years, so you know, that might change things too. But I just thought it was kind of fun because I didn't see that kind of date scene in Japan a lot, like a kind of a very like strong woman, which I know there is in Japan too. But yeah, that was kind of fun, and I just like thought to myself like, oh wow, that's different. And finally is also related to language. You know how in Japan we always say sumimasen if we want to like call someone in a store, or if we want to ask a question, ask for direction, you always start with sumimasen and then you ask something. And I was so used to it and I didn't think much about it. Like I thought, yeah, that's, you know, a polite way you say sorry, like excuse me or something. When I went to my local supermarket, I was searching for something specific and there was a staff there. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna ask her. And I was like, in French, excusez-moi. So which means excuse me, it's very similar. And then she looked at me and she was like, bonjour. I was like, oh no, I did it. And the funny thing is I saw video about this before, but I forgot. And so the thing is, maybe you don't know, I'm sorry. In France, you actually don't say excuse me when you want to like ask for something to someone. You have to say bonjour, like hello, good morning, whatever. It's not polite if you don't say bonjour to someone. So that's why like she looked at me and was like bonjour, like asking me to say it back, you know. And she was not like aggressive or like mean or anything, but I just felt like so stupid, like that I forgot this, even though I saw and I read so much about it. But for me it felt so natural to say excuse me first and then like ask something. But in France you should say bonjour first, and it's a more polite way to attract attention of someone. You say bonjour, and then if you want you can say excuse me, like I want to ask, no. But you need to say bonjour, and I forgot about it. Oh, I said it my last one, but bonus one. No. We say no a lot in France. Like non, which is no in French. We say it so much, and I lost that habit because, you know, in Japanese there's so many ways to say no that are not using the word no. And we almost never use it, but in France, people just say no so much. And it's not a negative thing. I mean, it's negative, it's no, but it's like, you know, if you ask someone, do you need help? They will say no. Or like, do you want this? No. It's like, just no. We don't, like, some people say, I'm good, or like, you know, daijoubu desu, you know, in French, like, ça va. But a lot of time people will just say no thanks or something like that, which we don't hear a lot in Japan. So it was kind of a fun one that, yeah, I wasn't used to anymore. And my dad says no so much. Every time I ask if I could help, he said no. He refuses everything. But anyway, that was another one. Also, we have like a lot of coffee shops in France, but very few of them have iced coffee. And when they have, it's called Café Frappé, which is more, you know, if you have to compare, kind of like a Starbucks Frappuccino or something. So it's super sweet. And yeah, I've been craving iced coffee, or like, yeah, I just prefer that style overall, which I shouldn't say. French people are gonna hate me, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, I think that's all for all of my reverse culture shock. I'm sorry, it was not very organized. I added some extra on at the end, but yeah, that's what I could notice while I was there. And I hope you learned something new. I hope I didn't make you not want to come to France. Please come. There are so many beautiful things here. And if you liked the video, please like it. Tell me in the comments if there's anything that surprised you or anything you want to try if you come to France. And you can subscribe, ring the bell, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye! Un peu, hein, ça va. Là c'est bon, ça roule. It's not like a... I don't know. But yeah, that's one thing that... Yeah, I forgot.